Hey, good morning, boys and girls. Mr. Nettis here. I'm about to go on a bike ride and have some fun. But before I do, I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about bicycling and bicycle safety and a little bit about bicycle maintenance. So, first of all, bicycling is one of my biggest passions. It's one of the activities I enjoy with my family and on my own. I've done some racing, and right now I do a lot of riding on the road and also on the trails. Each year I probably book over 2,000, 3,000 miles, depending on the year and the weather. So I put in a lot of time on the bike and I really enjoy it. It's a great lifelong activity for you and for anybody. You can use it for transportation, just enjoyment, or exercise, and it really is a fantastic thing that I hope you'll enjoy throughout your life. Anyway, I'm going to talk first about bicycle safety and a couple things about bicycle safety. One of the biggest things that you need to do in bicycling is protect your head. Okay, that's if you fall off a bike, that's the most serious potential injury is hitting your head, and a bike helmet does a lot to protect you. So nobody plans on falling, and nobody plans on hitting their head. And occasionally it does happen; things pop up. Personally, I've had a couple accidents over the years. One racing, and a number of them just riding on the trails or even on the road. And you never know. Sometimes animals jump in front of you, cars cut you off. Different things happen that you maybe are not ready for. Sometimes there's gravel on the road or a pothole. So there's lots of hazards you need to think about. And wearing a helmet can go a long way to protect yourself. So first of all, you got to make sure you have a properly fitting helmet. A few things that I see with students, a lot of times they have helmets that are too big and they're really floppy on their heads and they hang down too low. So you want to make sure that it fits you properly. It should. I really like helmets that have an adjustment on the back. They usually have a knob that can adjust smaller or bigger. And a good way to get fitted is to go to an actual bike shop, local bike shop. And I want to put in a small plug for Village Cycle Sport, which helps maintain all of our bicycles at Roslyn Road free of charge every year. So it's very nice of them. If you go there, they're really awesome, knowledgeable people. They can help you out with a bike helmet, and get you set up. Anyway, bike helmet should fit kind of like mine is. It should be about 2 fingers. It should come down to your forehead about 2 fingers or so. Should make a nice V around your ears with the straps. The straps should be snug but not too tight. Should be able to get a finger or two underneath. But it needs to be tight enough where you shake your head, it doesn't flop all around. From the side, it should be kind of level with your head. And those are some things. Now, you'll notice some of the colors I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see my socks, but notice my colors. This happens to be one of my favorite riding outfits. Number one, I like Under Armour, but the main thing is it's bright. It's neon. It really stands out. People can see me, and that's one of the number one rules with bicycling. You should be able to be seen. Notice my helmet, again, is really bright. Cars and other riders can see me. People can see me. So that's bright. My shirt has some reflective stuff on the back. My socks have reflective colors and bright colors, neon colors as well. And so those are some of the things that I use for safety. Another thing that I use are some lights. Okay, on the back of my bike, I have a really bright light, and this is one I highly recommend. A light in the back. I don't know if you can see that, but it flashes really bright. You can see that from probably a mile away. And so that really helps keep me safe. And on the front, I also have a light, which I use anytime it's slightly dark. Sometimes I even use it in the daytime if I'm on a road. And you can see I got a bright light on the front. And next, I want to talk about just making sure that you check your equipment. Okay, so a couple things you want to check on the bike, and I'll go into more detail on this in a minute. Check the tires for air, make sure the tires are properly inflated. You can also check the chain, make sure the chain is on properly. One of the things in maintenance, you do need to lubricate your chain. And the other thing that you want to check is, I call it the ABCs. So air the tires, check the brakes. So normally before I ride, I check the front brake and the back brake, make sure those are working properly. And then C is for chain, and just check over the bike in general, make sure there's nothing loose. Okay, so those are kind of the three big things that you should check before every ride. Um, Another thing, as I mentioned, you want to see and be seen. Make sure uh, it's best to ride during the daytime and during daylight hours, but make sure you have bright colors. Make sure people can see you. Um, Make sure you have control of your bicycle. I know a lot of people can ride with no hands, including myself, but you should have at least one hand on the handlebars, and make sure you're in control. Slow down where there's gravel. Look for hazards. Like I mentioned, gravel. Sometimes drains can be hazardous. Leaves, fresh cut grass that's put out onto the road. Um, Sometimes animals jump out. Dogs, deer I've had jump out. Even turkeys. I ride out in the country a lot around Lake Geneva area. And a lot of times turkeys or deer will jump out in front of you. So you do need to be cautious and be aware of that. And one other thing is make sure you use the rules of the road. Okay, this is an important one. So when you're riding, it's different than walking. When you're walking or jogging along the road, you go against the traffic. When you're riding, you ride with the traffic, and you got to follow the traffic rules. That means stopping at a stoplight. That means using your turn signals. If you're turning right, stick your arm out to the right. If you're turning left, put your arm out to the left. And if you're stopping, put your hand back like this to show that you're stopping. Down like this. And if there's a person riding behind you, you might go like this to give them the signal that you're slowing down. So those are some things that you need to do, and that'll help you be safe. Okay, and just want to remind you to ride in safe places. Don't ride on roads that are too busy. I prefer riding on gravel trails such as like Citizens Park and the Illinois Prairie Path, but I do quite a bit of road riding as well, but I do ride on roads that have very little traffic out in the country, and that's what I would recommend, is riding on roads around you that are not too busy or heavily trafficked. Okay, thank you, and be safe and have a lot of fun. So I noticed the sound on part of the video wasn't very clear, so I wanted to clarify something. The signal for letting a car or other cars know that you're stopping is your arm down like this, right arm down. From the back, it looks like this. And the signal to alert other riders behind you, if you're riding in a group, is your hand behind your back like this. Okay, but remember again, it is very important to use signals to let other riders and cars and other people know what you're doing. So a few more things about the bike maintenance. As I said, a real good thing for you to remember, mnemonic, is ABC, and that's air in the tires. Okay, so I like to check my tires actually every time I go for a ride, especially if I'm going for a long ride. Most of my rides are between 25 and 30 miles minimum. So I like to air my tires and check that they're at the right inflation. So on the side of your tires, it should say the recommended pressure, and it might be like 60 to 75 psi, which is pounds per square inch. So I'll hook up my pump on there and go ahead and pump that up to the right pressure. And a good pump should have a gauge on it that tells you the pressure. So I would highly recommend having a good bicycle pump. And then next, B, brakes. I'm going to check my brakes. So you can do that by walking the bike and squeezing the brakes. Okay, squeeze the front brake, then squeeze the back brake, and make sure it's working properly. So I'll give you a quick demonstration up close. So you can spin the tires, squeeze the brake, or just walk it or ride it a little slowly and check the brakes that they're working properly. Because you don't want to get going fast and find out the brakes don't work. Now, last thing is C, and I like to say that stands for the chain and just a general check on the bike. So one of the most common probably issues with the bike that I see is sometimes people say, my chain fell off, and how do you get it back on? So it's something good that you should know, because that does happen occasionally. You hit a bump, or sometimes the shifters are just not adjusted quite right, and your chain might fall off. So right now you can see my chain is off. It just fell off. And I'm going to adjust the camera here so you can get a little better view. Okay, so the easiest way to get that chain back on, you're going to get your hands a little dirty, but you're going to pull it and get it on to the front of the sprocket, and then you're going to kind of turn that sprocket, lift the bike and turn that sprocket, and it'll just go back on. Okay, so again, put the chain on top of the sprocket, hook it on, and you can pull the back. The derailleur will give it some slack, and you can pull on it, and do that, pull it on, put it on that gear. Again, put it on that gear, and then give it a spin, and it should get back on. Now, unfortunately, you're going to get your hands a little dirty, so you might have to wipe them in the grass if you're out on the road, or hopefully have a towel with you if you're by your house. Okay, and then just a general check. Make sure the seat is adjusted properly for you to the right height. Make sure things are tight. Make sure your handlebars are straight. Things aren't loose. And just kind of general check and make sure there's not any loose things on your bike. Every year it is good to take your bike into a bike shop or have someone that knows what they're doing maintain your bike. And during that check, they should be checking everything, all the bolts and different things to see that they're secure. And they will lubricate the chain too. It's a good idea to lubricate that chain every 100 miles or so. And you can buy chain lube at the bike shop or at any store that sells bike supplies. And that'll be a good thing to do. Put a little lube on the chain and then shift through the gears, and that'll spread that out. Now, a couple other things with biking that I like to do, I like to have. I like to have some supplies with me. So first of all, you can see I got a water bottle, just like Mrs. Nettis had. I always carry a water bottle, usually two actually if I go on a long ride. But I carry a water bottle. Like I said, I carry my lights on my bike even in daylight. And I also like to carry kind of a little bag on the back. I'm going to bring this a little closer so you can see. In my bag, what I like to carry are a couple things in case I have a problem. Okay, so first of all, I carry a cell phone in case I need to call Mrs. Nettis, call my wife, I break down, or call a friend if I have a problem. So I do carry that in case of emergency or in case of an issue. And I like to eat a lot, so I do carry a snack. I usually carry a Cliff Bar or some type of granola bar. But in addition, I also carry some supplies. I carry actually an extra inner tube just in case I get a flat tire, some tools to change the tire, and believe it or not, this is a teeny tiny pump. It's fantastic. You can pump up your bike. It takes a few minutes, but you can pump up your bike tires with that little tiny pump. And I also carry a patch kit. So this is a little patch kit just in case, like I said, I get a flat tire. And once you learn how to change a flat tire, it's actually extremely easy to do. You can probably do it in a couple minutes on the road and put it back on, and then you're back in action. So those are some of the things I like to carry. One additional thing I want to just mention is I like to have a bike computer. Now this is a little bit of a higher end one. It's a Garmin GPS bike computer. It tells me a lot of things. It tells me how fast I'm going, tells me how fast my feet are spinning, or how fast the pedals are spinning, how many revolutions per minute. It tells me how many miles I went, what my average speed is, what my max speed is. Actually even draws a map and has some map capabilities as well. But I would highly recommend even just a real basic computer. You can get one anywhere from $20 to $30 for a basic bike computer. It'll give you some really fun information like max speed, average speed, and how fast you're going, how long you've been riding, and how many miles you went. So those are really cool things to have. Makes the bike riding a little more exciting and helps you to train. And so that's all I want to cover for today. But one additional thing I do want to mention is part of our fantastic bicycling program at Roslyn Road is to teach students how to ride. And each year we have dozens of students, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade we do the bicycling program with. Each year we teach dozens of students how to ride. And I'm going to be emailing out some videos for parents, and it's basically kind of the methods we use to teach students how to ride. I've used these methods with adults, dozens and dozens of students each year, and I've used it with kids in my neighborhood, friends, children, as low as 2 years old and all the way up to adults. We've had a 100% success rate. Any student that has wanted, even adults, that has wanted to learn how to bike ride was successful using these methods, so I highly recommend them. I would actually not recommend using training wheels. Training wheels actually seem to cause more problems than they do help. I mean, they're okay to get kids just pedaling and get the feel for pedaling on a bike, but what they do is they seem to teach students and kids a false sense of balance. So they're leaning just ever so slightly on the training wheels and they think they're balancing, and then when they go to take them off, it causes problems. So what I would highly recommend the method that we teach, and that's kind of the balance bike method. You don't necessarily need a balance bike, but the method we teach is taking the pedals off and then scooting with the bike. So you can find out a lot more about that in the video. I'll email that to all the parents, all the families. So that's the method I would highly recommend. But please feel free to contact me. As I said, we teach 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade how to bicycle, and I'd be happy to set up time to teach any 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader that is not currently able to bike and wants to get more comfortable in doing that. And if you need help with the younger student too, please feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help you out with that. And again, hope you enjoy biking, and we'll see you out there. Be safe.
Good morning, boys and girls. Hope everyone had a great weekend and enjoyed their time at home with their families, and hopefully you were able to get outside and enjoy the great weather. To this morning, we are going to be doing for our specials morning showcase. Mr. Nettis has already created, as you'll know, the bike safety video, and then a little bit of a actual physical warm-up for your day will be a agility ladder, which I'm going to demonstrate here in a minute, and a short AMRAP workout. Okay. Right now outside, I have created a agility ladder on the ground. So using chalk, I just mapped out a sequence of boxes on the ground. And I am going to create a little bit of a workout to do and how to go in each of the boxes. So, for instance, for one of them, going down, you can jump in 1 foot, landing in each of the boxes, and go back on the same foot. And then switch feet. So now I went on my right foot. Now I'm going to go on my left foot. And back on the same foot. Okay, now when you do 2 feet, you can do a bunny hop into each of them. And a bunny hop back. And in each of these, you want to try to get off of the ground as fast as you can. You don't want to be on the ground for a long time. You want to be able to bounce up as fast as you can. To make things a little bit difficult and challenging, I should say, you can go sideways, jumping in and back, and then go to the next square, in and out, in and out. In, out, and then move back. Okay, if you want something a little bit more challenging as well, you can start with 1 foot in and 1 foot out and switch and keep going all the way down the line with both feet going in and out. That one is a really good challenge for developing quick feet and agility for those of you who are participating in any type of sport. Great activity to work on that agility. The one that I created, as I said, was using using chalk on the ground, but you can certainly modify it and use whatever's easiest for you. Maybe you come up with something creative using some paper to step on and like taping it to the ground. Or if you have, some people I know in your homes, maybe your carpet has like a pattern to it, and you can use that as well too, to hop on your toes and your feet and trying to create that great agility and quick movements. Okay, so go ahead and give those exercises a try, and I hope you have fun with it. Morning again, boys and girls. In addition to the agility ladder that we just completed, we are going to be doing an AMRAP workout, which for those of you who remember, it stands for as many reps as possible in a specific timed round. So I'm going to give you a list of exercises that we're going to do. We're going to complete the exercises for 20 seconds, and then we're going to rest for 10 seconds. Okay, and then we're going to do the next exercise for 20 seconds, rest for 10, exercise for 20, rest for 10. Okay, and we're going to have 4 different exercises that we're going to do. When you complete the first round, then you're just going to start back at the beginning and work your way through again. This is just a 8-minute AMRAP workout. So you are going to do 4 exercises. The first exercise is going to be jumping jacks. Okay, so we'll do 20 seconds straight of jumping jacks and then a 10-second rest. After we finish the 20 seconds of jumping jacks, then the next exercise we're going to do is push-ups. Okay, so we have jumping jacks and then push-ups. Then we will transition to squats, and I'll demonstrate those for us too. And then after squats, we will be going down to sit-ups. Okay, so those will be the 4 main exercises that we do. So we'll do a quick demonstration before we start. Okay, so for jumping jacks, everyone knows, good jumping jacks, arms out, hands up. We're good with those. Then we have, for our second one was push-ups. Remember, we want to try to maintain a good flat back when we go down and push ourselves back up. If you need to rest a little bit in between, you can, or if it's too much of a challenge, you can always rest your knees on the ground and still lower yourself down, keeping a straight back as possible. Okay? After that are our squats, right, where we are going to keep our legs about shoulder width apart. We're going to squat down like we're sitting and stand back up. Squat down and stand up. Really good for our legs exercise. And then our last one was the sit-ups. We can either go with them, our feet on the ground, back down, sitting up, trying to get our elbows up, or you can have them behind your head, coming up, trying to touch our knees as well. Okay? So that is the first, the 4 exercises. So I'm going to do the first set with you. Remember, this is 8 minutes long, so however many times you can get through it. If you feel like you don't need as much rest in between, then feel free just to go right into the next one. There is that 10-second window built in, so that if you want to rest, you can. But you certainly don't have to if you don't want to. So if you want to do 20 seconds of jumping jacks and 20 seconds of push-ups and 20 seconds of squats and then 20 seconds of sit-ups in a row and keep going, you can do that, okay? But you can always try to get that rest in between as well, okay? I'm going to do it with the little rest session so that you know what that would kind of look like. It will be very helpful for you to have a timer so that you can stay on track, okay? So here's our 20 seconds of jumping jacks. Ready? Go. And rest. 10 seconds. Get ready for your push-ups. And go. And rest. seconds. Now we have our 20 seconds of squats. Ready, go. Try to keep your knees down and bent. Try to get down low, don't stay up too straight. And rest. Now we have our last set of sit-ups. Ready, go. And rest. Okay, so that was one time through. Don't stop. Okay, you still got a couple more rounds. Try to see how many you can get done. Great job.